There was a time when Wesley Snipes had Hollywood on lock and was able to command up to $10 million per film. The multi-talented star mixed his acting skills with his impressive martial arts moves to dominate the genres of comedy, action, and drama. It wasn't uncommon to see him playing a variety of diverse roles, from a baseball player to a kingpin to a drag queen. Co-starring alongside several A-list actors such as Robert De Niro and Sean Connery, he would sometimes film up to 3 movies per year. These days, Wesley is no longer the leading man in blockbuster films. He wasn't even asked to reprise his role in the reboot of Blade. So what happened? Well, let's just put it this way. Wesley dogged out the wrong demographic. There were also rumors he was difficult to work with, and a trip to the big house derailed his career for several years. This is how Wesley single-handedly ruined his own career.
Made in the U.S. and packed with the most delicious flavors, RRG Snack's selection of beef and bacon jerky will make your taste buds do the Harlem Shake. Hurry over to rrgsnacks.com and scoop up a bag or 2 so you can get your munch on while watching our videos.
After appearing in the King of Pop's Bad Music video in 1987, he had a bit of a dry spell and worked as a therapeutic masseuse and a valet driver to make ends meet. Then he was offered a role in HBO's Vietnam War story, which led to his breakout role of Willie Mays Hayes in the 1989 film Major League. The movie, which has been described as one of the best sports comedies of all time, debuted at number 1 and grossed more than $75 million worldwide. Naturally, the film's creators wanted to capitalize on the success by filming a sequel, but by that point, fame had already gone to Wesley's head, according to his Major League co-star Corbin Burnson. Corbin told Sports Illustrated he ran into Wesley a couple of years after they filmed Major League Part 1. Corbin stated, "I said, hey man, they're gonna make Major League 2. And he was like, you're gonna do that? And I thought, wow, how quickly they forget. He'd become Wesley Snipes. That rubbed me the wrong way." According to the LA Times, Wesley signed with one of Hollywood's top firms, and his then agent Donna Chavis told the Times Wesley made it clear he wanted to be a superstar and he wasn't going to let anyone or anything stand in his way. Initially, Hollywood wasn't biting because they were, quote, unaccustomed to his dark skin and unconventional beauty. And his agent was told by studio executives that they would never hire anyone darker than Denzel Washington. However, Wesley broke down barriers and never looked back. Against his agent's advice, he took some risks, like his role as Nino Brown in New Jack City. It turned out to be one of the best decisions of his career. Wesley was on top of the world. He was solidifying his role as a top actor and was receiving the praise and respect that he deserved. But he got his wake-up call in the spring of 1991 at the height of all the frenzy. Wesley was filming The Water Dance and needed a car to get around town. So he was allowed to take a Mustang that was leased by the production company. He left the set and started driving to his destination, but someone on set didn't get the memo that Wesley took the car, so they reported it stolen. Wesley was pulled over by the LAPD in downtown Los Angeles around midnight and was forced to lie spread eagle and handcuffed on the pavement while another officer pointed a weapon at his head. Wesley repeatedly asked what he did wrong, but he said the responding officers wouldn't give him an answer. After being apprehended at the police station for 2 hours, he was finally released and called it the most humiliating experience of his life. During a news conference to address the alleged police mistreatment, Wesley was joined by other actors, including Blair Underwood, Tico Wells, and Reginald T. Dorsey, who offered him support and talked about their own experiences with the police. Black Hollywood had his back, but as his career progressed, many people believed Wesley turned his back on all the people who were rooting for him. According to the LA Times, he rarely showed up to Black events and ceremonies. Black women also began to question the roles he was accepting. They cut him some slack with the interracial romance in the 1991 film Jungle Fever. But by the time his 1997 movie One Night Stand was released, many moviegoers grew tired of Wesley playing the lead role in interracial storylines. And no one could forget the terrible comments he made during an October 1993 interview with Vibe magazine when he was questioned about his dating preference. Although he had been linked to various black entertainers following his 1990 divorce, including Halle Berry and Jada Pinkett, word was getting around that Wesley wasn't a fan of the sisters. To be clear, the outrage wasn't in regards to his preference, it was based on the comments he made about black women. He told Vibe magazine because he was in close proximity to white people in the entertainment business, he was meeting a lot of white women. He added, "You're gonna, at some point, choose the best of the white women that either is closest to black to you or that you can get along with the best." But he didn't stop there. Wesley said that after moving into that arena of whiteness, it was a bit uncomfortable to move back to, quote, "where the brothers and sisters are at." He added, "You don't know how to sit and culturally laugh at the right type of jokes, so now you're alienated from that which you are." Wesley went on to say he didn't have to work as hard with white women. He said that by dating outside of his race, he could just exist and be treated like a celebrity, while black people would never really give him his props, and black women would tell him, "I'ma let you know, just because you're successful don't mean that you just gonna run up this mix." To say his comments rubbed people the wrong way is an understatement. But he wasn't done. In a November 1997 issue of Ebony magazine, he bragged about his new girlfriend, Donna Wong. He said that being with an Asian woman was a different kind of energy, but he was enjoying it. He said he knew black women weren't happy about black men dating other races, but there was a reason behind his dating preference. Wesley explained that he and other successful black men didn't want to come home and fight with their partners. So it was, quote, "very natural for him to find a mate that was more compassionate." In other words, black women weren't giving him the type of lovin' he was searching for. Things with his girlfriend didn't work out, and in 2003, he married South Korean painter and artist Nakyong Nikki Park. As of this video, they're still married and share 4 children together. Wesley also has a son from his first marriage. Perhaps, at the time, Wesley didn't understand the impact his words would have on his career. A film critic named Kamal Larswell told the LA Times, "Whenever I do a review on his movie, I'll get feedback that says, I don't go see his movies anyway." Or if the movie does not do well, they would say, "Serves him right for dissing black women." By the mid-90s, he accepted movies that puzzled his fans, such as the role of Noxeema Jackson in To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. His fans were pleased when it was announced that Wesley would appear in the Blade franchise, starting with the first film, which was released in August 1998, and Blade 2, released in 2002, and Blade Trinity, which hit theaters in 2004. The films put Wesley back on the map as one of the first black superheroes, but there was some major drama on set of the third installment. According to Variety, Wesley claimed the film's director, screenplay, and supporting cast were all approved without his consent, which violated his contract as co-executive producer of the project. He also claimed the film's writer and director, David Goyer, made racial comments about Wesley's professionalism. In addition to those accusations, Wesley said New Line Cinema intentionally hired only white individuals, still owed him $3 million, gave his co-stars more screen time, and that they didn't help him obtain a Canadian tax exemption on the grounds that he was being paid from a Swiss company for a movie being filmed in Canada. That wasn't all. Actor and comedian Patton Oswalt told the AV Club that Wesley would stay inside his trailer, would only communicate through Post-it notes, and was too busy smoking substances all day. There were also rumors that Wesley had a physical altercation with David Goyer. Wesley later denied the allegation. Chris Perry, a writer for Spin magazine, was on set during production and wrote, "Not only was he not prepared to help his fellow actors during their close-ups, but if the shot involved anything less than a front-on close-up, he called for a stand-in to do the acting for him." An anonymous crew member also alleged that Wesley referred to his co-star Ryan Reynolds as "that cracker" and Jessica Biel as "that girl." Wesley has defended his behavior on set, including during an interview with Entertainment Weekly. He said he was targeted because of his race. Unsurprisingly, Wesley's behavior made many major studios back away from him, and his next 7 projects were released straight to video in the U.S. In other words, America was done with Wesley. Oh, and South Africa was fed up with him too, when in July 2005, they declared him an undesirable person after he was found traveling through the country on a forged South African passport. In 2019, it was announced that Marvel would be filming a Blade reboot, but Wesley's services weren't needed. They hired actor Mahershala Ali to take over the lead role. Wesley told Entertainment Weekly he was fine with the franchise going in a different direction. He added, "I don't feel any loss in not working with Marvel. Blade was white belt stuff. We're black belts now." He was bringing in $10 million per film and 10% of gross profits in the 90s, but as the new millennium approached, his financial situation went haywire. In 2002, the William Morris Agency filed a claim against him over a $500,000 loan. And in the summer of 2003, his 7,375 square foot Isleworth, Florida mansion, which he paid $1.7 million for in 2002, went into foreclosure and was auctioned off for just $636,000. Wesley contested the sale and said the mortgage was signed with a forged signature, but a judge later ruled in the bank's favor. In 2007, Wesley was in the middle of some deep doo-doo when he was accused of failing to file income tax returns from 1999 through 2004 in an attempt to defraud the government to the tune of around $12 million. In court docs obtained by RRG, Wesley and his 2 co-defendants were accused of running a tax fraud mill and using a multitude of schemes to get away with their dirty deeds. Prosecutors alleged that Wesley flooded the U.S. tax agency with bizarre correspondence rather than filed tax returns on his estimated $38 million income.
It's been put in a context and framed as though I was a co-conspirator, that at one point I was the architect of a scheme that was promoted by an organization. I have been a client represented by people whom I trusted.
Even after being indicted, Wesley continued to send letters to the IRS stating he deserved protection against laws that were mandated by the Constitution. After a lengthy battle, he escaped felony charges but was convicted of 3 misdemeanor counts of failure to file tax returns. He was sentenced to 3 years behind bars and was fined up to $5 million. He filed an appeal, arguing that his sentence was unreasonable and claiming he couldn't get a fair trial in Ocala, Florida, because of his race. In the end, his appeal was rejected, and he served 28 months in a Pennsylvania federal facility. In the years following his release, he has battled with the IRS to settle his tax debt, including in 2018 when he claimed he couldn't pay his outstanding bill of $23.5 million. He offered the IRS $842,000 to settle the matter, and unsurprisingly, the agency rejected his offer. These days, Wesley is still active in the entertainment industry. He has made appearances in the NBC sitcom The Player, Chirac, and The Expendables 3. Most recently, he has appeared in Coming to America, Paper Empire, and True Story. He also authored a book called Talent of God. Although he's no longer the leading man like he used to be, that doesn't mean Wesley can't reclaim the fame he once experienced in the early days of his career. Michael DeLuca, the executive who brought the Blade series to New Line Cinema, told LA Times, "Once you are a movie star, you are always a movie star. All it takes is one more film to put you back on top." Let us know if you're shocked by what happened to Wesley Snipes' career, and thanks for watching RRG.